Yo, what is going on, everybody? It is Chad back here with BetHubSportsBlog.com. Today I'm here to present you guys with the most highly anticipated segment for the website, which is none other than my NFL weekly top 3 selections. We roll it out medal style, gold, silver, and bronze. It's something that I used to do back on my old website, InTheOT.com. We used to get hundreds, if not thousands, of views on these picks on a weekly basis because I know everybody thoroughly enjoys making money. I have an outstanding record, 55 to 56% over the last 2 years, regular season and playoffs included, and I can admit, betting on sports every day, that it's the only sport that I know that I've profited long-term from. The other sports I've always found a little bit more difficult because it requires a lot of time to research these games and put some hard thinking into it. And other sports that play every day, you just simply aren't given that much time. When it comes to football, you have a full week to prepare. You can listen to other people's opinions, read up on things, and also, most importantly, is the emotional aspect of football. The fact that every single one of these games means something, and you don't really have to question if guys are going to take a night off, makes it just so much more enjoyable, and that's why I believe I've had such tremendous success. So without further ado, let's get straight down to business with week 1 pick, the gold selection, and it'll be laying some chalk with the home side, the New Orleans Saints, -7 versus the Washington Redskins, and I absolutely love this pick here, and I thought this number would be at least 10.5 when it was all said and done, and for some reason the wise guys here are just loving the Redskins in this matchup, and I just do not see it. And the reason why I like New Orleans so much in this spot here is the dichotomy between them at home and on the road is night and day. And when it's at home, they're absolutely unstoppable. Last year, they went 8-0 at home, and they won every single game by at least 7 points or more. Only one of them they just won by a single touchdown. You're trying to tell me Robert Griffin III, his first ever start in the NFL, going into hostile environment with limited talent on the offensive side of things, is going to be able to keep up with Drew Brees and the high-flying Saints offense? Not a chance. And I understand that the Washington Redskins have a half-decent defense, but it is not going to be enough to contain Drew Brees. And even if Griffin does have a good game, and I suppose he could against a mediocre Saints defense, there is not a chance they're going to be able to keep up with the Saints here in an absolute track meet. And I also love the Saints from a motivation standpoint in this game. Personally, I don't even think they're going to do that great this year. I think there's a chance they still miss the playoffs and they maybe go 9-7, 10-6 at the best, because I think as the season progresses, that's when they're going to start to have some of the missing players and coaches catch up to them, but not in week 1 where they can play on adrenaline and play with a lot of intensity and emotion, knowing what they've gone through in the off season. I think it's almost going to be like a fuck you to the NFL. We're still great no matter what you guys try to do to stop us here. The fans are going to be going absolutely nuts. It's going to be boisterous inside the Louisiana Superdome. You see what's going on down there right now with the natural disasters. It's an emotional uplifting for the city when this team comes to play. And now the fact that today they had some of the suspensions upheld by the new judge that's been investigating things, there's going to be even more of a reason. How are you going to stop this offense against a mediocre defense and an offense from the Washington Redskins side that will just not have a chance to keep up with them? The Saints score at least 27-30 points. Their defense should still be half decent. They are a very aggressive blitzing style of defense. They've got, what's his name, taking over Steve Spagnuolo. He has a full offseason to work with these guys and get a better game plan out of them. I say they roll easily by double digits in this game. Give me the New Orleans Saints as my top selection, gold unit. Lay it down big time. And my silver selection will be something that many people that have followed my picks the last few years have become acclimated with. And if you've not in your first time to check out what I have to say on these games and follow my picks, get used to it, because sometimes they call me Tommy Totals around here. I find it very difficult sometimes to find sides in these football games that are appealing to me. Rather, there's a little bit more flexibility and I believe a stronger likelihood of cashing with some of these over-unders. So let's get straight down to business here and go with the solid under with the Houston Texans taking on the Miami Dolphins. I bet this number a couple weeks ago and it was at 43. It's down to about 42.5, 42. So we'll grade it at that right now because that's pretty much the prevailing number at this moment when I release this blog with my picks. And the main theory here for this selection is the fact that the Miami Dolphins are absolutely pitiful offensively. There's not a chance they're going to be going into Houston up against that top 5 ranked defense and being able to score with Ryan Tannehill in his first start. He simply does not have the weapons around him to score points. points. The wide receiving core is one of the worst in the NFL. Daniel Thomas and Reggie Bush are not powerful enough backs, and they just will not be able to. I would say if they get 17 points, I'd be absolutely shocked. More like 10 or 14 is what we're looking at, and I just don't see Houston absolutely racking it up offensively against them because Miami is still a half-decent defensive team. So I know a lot of people would say, well, if you have that mindset going to the game, Chad, why don't you just lay the points with Houston? Well, it's not that easy laying double digits in the first week of the NFL, and furthermore, Houston's not exactly the type of team that's being used to being installed as a favor of this nature. Let's not forget, this is the team that just made the playoffs for the first time last year, and a lot of the games that they won last year, they were still underdogs or short favorites in, and I'm just not quite ready yet to lay down the hammer with them being double-digit favorites. And furthermore, I'm not so convinced that their offense is going to be absolutely in fluid motion here in week one. Like I said, the Miami defense is half decent, and then when you just factor in that Matt Schaub is coming off an injury, you don't know if he's going to be fully ready to go here and throw the football around like we've seen in the past. And then also when you factor in sort of the style of play that Houston has from last year, they become a very run-orientated team first. They like to control the line of scrimmage, control the clock, and wear teams down in the trenches, which is what they will eventually do to Miami. So that means from an offensive perspective, it's going to be a tick-tick-tock, the clock don't stop, hand it off to Foster, hand it off to Tate, back and forth, do a couple check down passes, really tire out that Miami defense. And Andre Johnson is not the receiver that he once was to go for those long strikes downfield. Oh wait, someone may have just told me. Yes, that's correct. Arian Foster may not even be playing in this game, and if that's the case, it may vote even well for our under here because they do not have as many offensive options. And even if he does play, he won't be at full health, and he's the type of running back that likes to chip away and go downfield. So I don't really see Houston getting much more than 24, 27 points, and I don't see Miami getting more than 14 or 17. This game has 24-14 at the most written all over it, maybe 23-10, something of that nature. I was shocked to see the number come out this high. I really thought it was going to be 39-40 when you look at how net Miami's offense is going to be. They're half decent defensively, so take advantage of that. Under there is my silver selection for week number one. And last but not least, my bronze selection, which of course again is a total. This time we'll go up and over a number, and because these lines were put out so early, guys, I bet some of these numbers 2 or 3 weeks ago because I was dead right in terms of seeing which way they would go. It is the over in the Chicago Bears Indianapolis Colts game. I have it at over 41 from a few weeks ago. It's all the way up to about 43 now. I think that's still a fair enough number because this total should be higher, and I'm about to tell you guys why. First of all, let's look at the Chicago Bears as a team. This, I believe, is a team that is going to be much more offensive orientated than defense. And when you think of the Chicago Bears of the past, you think of defense. So it's just natural for the average bettor to think Chicago and under. But in reality, when you look at what they're doing offensively with Jay Cutler, now bringing in Brandon Marshall, who he's known from before, and we've seen what's going on with Matt Forte being one of the best all-purpose backs in the league. And then you see what's going on at the tight end position there with Kellen Davis. They definitely have some big-time options. Devin Hester can play a little bit of wide receiver and return kicks. They always get good field position. If not, Johnny Knox as well. And it's not like they're going up against a stout defense here. We're talking about the Indianapolis Colts, who are one of the most pitiful defensive teams, and I mean pitiful last year. They're not just going to change all of a sudden overnight. And oftentimes when you think of Bear under games, you think of these rigid, cold winter temperatures where it's going to be effective. Well, we're talking about the first week of September where it's still 75, 80 degrees out, perfect football conditions for there to be some offensive fireworks in this football game. And defensively, I just don't think the Bears are nearly what they once were. The defense is getting very old with a lot of the prime-time players they have. Urlacher's not even playing. Tommy Harris is all but done. Lance Briggs is getting older. Israel Donajay is not getting any younger as well. The only real force they have out there, in my opinion, is Julius Peppers. And the thing with him is he creates so many turnovers that sometimes that is even better for an over because of the fact that it results in easy points for Chicago, giving them short fields as well. And their secondary definitely has a lot of holes in them. I don't trust the cornerbacks with Jennings and Tillman. And I know that it's tough to go with an over when you have a rookie quarterback making his first start. But I think we can all agree that Andrew Luck is not your standard rookie. This kid is special. I've watched a lot of his preseason games. It looks like he's already getting very fluid in the offense in Indianapolis, and I think that he should have no problem throwing the football around a little bit on this old secondary. And I also think as well, if Indianapolis does find themselves behind in this game, which I do believe will be the case, that they're going to be even more likely to throw the football late in the game, get some backdoor touchdowns, things of that nature, because Indianapolis knows they're probably not going to make the playoffs, and they want Luck to get as many reps in as possible. So they're really going to abandon the running game. And it's not like they don't have some weapons there as well for him to work with. We do know what someone like Pierre Garçon offers for them. Pierre Garçon. He left to, in the offseason? Washington. Reggie Wayne. They still have got Austin Collie. He's got his boy Colby Fleener from Stanford there. So there's a couple of options for them. And, when I look at a total that low, I see the Bears scoring at least 24 to 27 points in this football game. And then I don't think it's too unreasonable to ask Indianapolis to score a couple touchdowns, maybe even a little bit more. So I think this total is too low. It should have been more like 44, 45. As you will see as the season goes on. Indianapolis's offense is better than it was last year with Luck, and their defense hasn't really improved. And with Chicago, their offense was good before Cutler went down, and will pick up from where it left off last year. And the defense continues to get old and is pretty much, not what it was. So take advantage of the low total as we can see this one go up and over. So to recap my week 1 picks, we have the Saints -7 is gold. We have under 43 Miami and Houston, and we have over 42 for Indianapolis and Chicago. Make sure to check back next week, guys, as we look to continue building on the success we've had the last few years with a high winning percentage. And if you guys don't believe me, or you think I'm a putz and I'm making this stuff up, well, then go ahead and fade me and see how that works out after 17 weeks of the regular season plus the playoffs.